and gentlemen, happy Halloween. Friday. Friday before Halloween. Whatever. So this is Algebra Notes for 2-6, rationalizing the denominator. Some big words there. We'll talk about them, don't worry. So that first word we're going to talk about is rational. You should know what a rational number is, and if you don't, you should get on that. A rational number is any number that can be written as a fraction. Okay. So, remember, rational numbers are numbers that can be written as fractions. When we're talking about the denominator is that bottom of my fraction. So just, keep that in mind. So then, a couple of lessons ago, we talked about non-perfect squares. We learned that back then that non-perfect squares are irrational numbers, not to be confused with rational. You can't be both rational and irrational at the same time. It doesn't work that way. And some examples of those are anything that's not a perfect square. So the square root of 1 is a perfect square. Square root of 2, square root of 3, square root of 101, square root of 50, etc., etc. Anything that's not one of those perfect squares, like square root of 2, square root of 4, square root of 9, square root of 16, square root of 25, square root of 36, etc., etc., etc. So, if you think about it, this makes sense, because if we have a fraction that has an irrational denominator, that would be a rational divided by an irrational, which would result in an irrational number, which is completely contradictory to the point that a rational number is supposed to be a fraction. So, moral of the story and moral of this lesson is that fractions with irrational denominators, so like square root of 2, square root of 3, all those examples, need to be rationalized, and this lesson is going to teach you about that. So how to rationalize the denominator? You are simply just going to multiply both the top and bottom of your fraction by the irrational number in the denominator. And that is going to make a heck of a lot more sense once we start to get into some of those examples. So one last thing I'm going to do is nothing. We're going to move on to example 1. So stay tuned.